Dad Quiet Revenge. I was signing a $3 million contract when I saw her. My pregnant daughter-in-law serving tables at Belmont's restaurant. The same woman my son said had run off to Europe with another man 6 months ago. That's when I knew Charles had been lying to me about everything. My name is Howard Caldwell. I'm 58 years old, and I built Caldwell Construction from nothing into an $8 million empire over the past 33 years. But sitting there in that upscale Denver restaurant, watching Dorothy struggle to carry a water pitcher while 8 months pregnant, I realized my own son had been playing me for a fool. The dizziness hit me again as I stared at her. That familiar spinning sensation that had been getting worse over the past 6 months. My business partner, Eugene Foster, sat across from me, his 56-year-old face showing impatience as he tapped his Rolex against the white tablecloth. "Howard, you've been staring at that signature line for 15 minutes, Eugene said. The sellers are waiting. Everything all right?" I rubbed my temples, trying to clear the fog that seemed to cloud my thinking more each week. "Just tired, Gene." "These vitamins Charles got me from his doctor friend aren't helping much." Eugene frowned. "Maybe you should see your own doctor. You've been off your game for months." That's when Dorothy approached our table. She moved slowly under the weight of her pregnancy, her face gaunt despite the large belly. When she turned toward us with the water pitcher, her brown eyes went wide with recognition and fear. "Good evening, gentlemen," she whispered, avoiding direct eye contact with me. "Can I start you with some drinks while you review the menu?" I couldn't speak for a moment. This was Dorothy Caldwell, the woman who had been married to my son Charles for 3 years. The certified public accountant who had worked as our company's financial controller until Charles told me she'd embezzled money and fled to Europe with her lover. "Dorothy?" I managed to croak out. She flinched like I'd slapped her. "I'm sorry, sir. I think you have me confused with someone else. I'll give you a few more minutes to decide on drinks, but it was definitely her. Same voice, same mannerisms, just thinner and terrified looking." She started to hurry away toward the kitchen, her movements awkward under the weight of her pregnancy. I pushed back from the table, ignoring Eugene's startled protests. "Excuse me for a minute." The kitchen at Belmont's was a maze of stainless steel and controlled chaos. Line cooks called out orders, while servers weaved between prep stations with loaded trays. I found Dorothy in a corner near the industrial dishwashers, leaning against a wall with her hand pressed to her lower back. "Dorothy, don't run from me. What the hell is going on here?" She looked around frantically, checking to see if anyone was listening. "Mr. Caldwell, please, if Charles finds out you saw me here." "If Charles finds out, Dorothy, he told me you stole $50,000 from the company and ran off with some guy from your gym. He said you left him a note saying you never loved him, and the baby wasn't his." Her face crumpled. "He told you what?" He showed me the note. "Said you cleaned out your joint account and disappeared." "Dorothy, where have you been for the past 6 months?" She was crying now, quiet sobs that shook her shoulders. "Mr. Caldwell, Charles made me leave. He changed the locks on the house, closed our bank accounts, and told everyone I was stealing from the company. When I tried to prove my innocence, he threatened to have me declared mentally unfit and take my baby. My head was spinning worse than before, and not just from whatever was in those vitamins. What do you mean, prove your innocence? What were you trying to prove?" Dorothy glanced around again, then pulled me deeper into the corner. I found irregularities in our books, fake vendor payments, shell companies that don't exist. Someone was siphoning money from Caldwell Construction. And when I started investigating, Charles accused me of being the thief. How much money? About $185,000 over the past 18 months, all traced to accounts I'd never seen before. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. "Dorothy, where are you living?" "A motel on East Colfax, the Starlight Motor Inn." "Mr. Caldwell, I've been working here for 3 months just to pay for a room and food." The manager, Mr. Hendricks, he's the only one who'd hire a pregnant woman without references. "Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you tell me what Charles was doing?" She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, "Because he showed me a document that made it look like you approved of firing me. And he said if I ever contacted you directly, he'd make sure I lost my baby and never saw him again." The noise of the kitchen faded to a dull roar as I tried to process what she was telling me. My son, the boy I'd raised to take over the family business, had driven away his pregnant wife and convinced me she was a thief. "Dorothy, those vitamins Charles has been bringing me every week. Do you know anything about them?" She was quiet for a long moment, then met my eyes. "Charles has a woman living with him now. Joyce Reynolds, she used to work for a pharmaceutical company before you hired her as a temp accountant last year, remember? She's the one who suggested Charles start you on those supplements. What kind of pharmaceutical company? The kind that specializes in compounds for elderly patients. Sedatives, cognitive enhancement drugs, things like that." She paused. "Mr. Caldwell, have you been feeling confused lately? Dizzy?" Like your thinking isn't as sharp as it used to be? I had been for months, and it was getting worse. Dorothy, I need you to tell me everything. Every detail about what Charles did to you, what you found in the books, and what you know about Joyce Reynolds. For the next 20 minutes, standing in that steamy corner of Belmont's kitchen while dinner service raged around us, Dorothy laid out a story that made my blood run cold. Charles hadn't just betrayed his wife, he'd systematically destroyed her life to cover up his own crimes. She told me how Joyce Reynolds had moved into their house 8 months ago, supposedly as a temporary houseguest while she looked for an apartment, but Joyce never left. Instead, she gradually took over Dorothy's role in the household, cooking Charles's meals, organizing his schedule, and eventually sleeping in their bedroom while Dorothy was relegated to the guest room. It was psychological warfare, Dorothy said, her voice barely audible over the clatter of dishes. They would sit at the dinner table discussing their future together while I was sitting right there. Joyce would wear my jewelry, my clothes, even my perfume. Charles acted like I was invisible. When Dorothy discovered the fraudulent transactions in the company books, she tried to discuss it with Charles privately. That's when he turned vicious, accusing her of projection and paranoia. He claimed she was the one stealing money and that her pregnancy hormones were making her delusional. He had Joyce back him up on everything, Dorothy continued. Joyce would nod and agree that I seemed unstable, that maybe I needed professional help. They made me feel like I was losing my mind. The final confrontation came when Dorothy printed out evidence of the fake vendor payments and threatened to bring them to me. Charles exploded, physically grabbing the papers and destroying them. He told her she had 24 hours to leave the house or he'd call the police and have her arrested for embezzlement. I was 6 months pregnant, Mr. Caldwell. I had nowhere to go. My parents live in Kansas and don't have money to help. Charles knew I was trapped. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Dorothy's words and my own deteriorating health. The dizziness, the confusion, the way I'd been making uncharacteristic business mistakes over the past few months. Eugene had mentioned it more than once, suggesting I might want to step back from day-to-day operations. The next morning, I drove to my old friend Dr. Chester Morgan's clinic in downtown Denver. Chester was 59, a toxicologist I'd known since we were both young men trying to make our mark in this city. He'd helped me navigate workers' compensation cases over the years when we had job site injuries. Chester, I need you to run some tests on these supplements. I handed him the bottle of pills Charles had been bringing me every week for the past 6 months. The label read Advanced Senior Vitality Complex from some company I'd never heard of. Chester examined the bottle, then looked at me with concern. Howard, you look terrible. When did you start taking these? Charles brought them to me in February, said his doctor friend recommended them for men our age. Energy, mental clarity, that sort of thing. And how have you been feeling since then? I told him about the dizziness, the confusion, how I'd been struggling to focus during important meetings. Chester made notes while I talked, his expression growing more serious. I'll have these analyzed, but Howard, I want to run some blood work on you too. These symptoms you're describing could indicate several things, none of them good. 2 days later, Chester called me at home. Howard, we need to talk. Can you come in this afternoon? His office smelled like antiseptic and coffee. Chester had test results spread across his desk, and his usually jovial demeanor was gone. Howard, those pills contain a mild sedative compound and something else I haven't seen before. They're designed to cause gradual cognitive decline without being immediately lethal. Someone's been drugging you systematically. I felt cold all over. How long? Based on your blood work, probably 4 to 6 months. The good news is there doesn't seem to be permanent damage. If you stop taking them now, you should recover fully within a few weeks. Chester, my son, gave me these pills. My own son, Chester, was quiet for a moment. Howard, I have to ask, is there anyone who would benefit from your incapacitation? Business partners, family members with inheritance concerns. That's when I knew I had to act, but I'm a businessman, not a vigilante. I decided to handle this the right way through investigation and the legal system. The next morning, I called Arthur Bennett. Arthur was 51, a former Denver police detective who'd started his own private investigation firm after retiring early. I'd used his services twice before for background checks on potential employees. Arthur, I need your help with a delicate family matter. We met at his office on 16th Street, a modest space above a coffee shop. Arthur listened without interruption while I laid out everything Dorothy had told me and showed him Chester's test results. Howard, if what you're saying is true, we're looking at multiple felonies. Financial fraud, elder abuse, possibly attempted murder depending on what those drugs were supposed to do long term. I want solid evidence before we make any moves. Can you investigate without Charles knowing? That's what I do best. Give me 2 weeks. While Arthur worked, I also brought in Beverly Porter, a forensic accountant who specialized in white-collar crime. Beverly was 49, a former FBI agent who could trace money through corporate mazes better than anyone in Colorado. I also took another step. I moved Dorothy out of that terrible motel. Using my personal funds, I put her up in a furnished apartment in Cherry Creek and made sure she had proper medical care. Her baby was due in 6 weeks, and I wasn't about to let my grandson be born in some fleabag motel room. "Mr. Caldwell, I can't let you pay for all this," Dorothy said as we walked through the clean, safe apartment. "Dorothy, you're carrying my grandchild, your family. And if what you've told me is true, then my son owes you a lot more than a decent place to live." Over the next 2 weeks, Arthur and Beverly built an airtight case against Charles and Joyce. They found the fake vendor accounts Charles had created, traced the money to offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, and documented every fraudulent transaction. The amount was exactly what Dorothy had told me, $185,000 over 18 months. But the most shocking discovery came when Beverly accessed Charles's work computer remotely using administrative credentials I provided. She found email exchanges between Charles and Joyce discussing my declining health and how it would accelerate the inheritance timeline. "Howard, they're not just stealing from the company," Beverly told me during our final meeting. "They're planning for your death." One email from Joyce to Charles was particularly chilling. "The compounds should simulate natural cognitive decline. By Christmas, you should be able to have him declared incompetent and take over completely." Arthur had photographic evidence of Joyce purchasing the chemicals used in my supplements from a medical supply company in Aurora. She'd used a fake ID, but the security cameras had captured her clearly. Meanwhile, I'd been secretly disposing of the pills Charles brought me each week while pretending to take them. My head was clearer than it had been in months. The dizziness was gone, my thinking was sharp again, and I felt 10 years younger. But I kept up the act around Charles, pretending to be confused and weak during our weekly dinners. I needed him to think his plan was working while I prepared my counterattack. The confrontation came on a Tuesday morning in October. I'd spent weeks planning exactly how to handle it, working with Arthur and Beverly to coordinate everything with the authorities. Detective Ryan Martinez from the Denver Police Financial Crimes Unit had been reviewing our evidence for the past week. I called Charles into my office at Caldwell Construction at 9 a.m. sharp. Our headquarters occupied the top floor of a building I'd bought and renovated 15 years ago. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a view of the Rocky Mountains, and the conference room where I'd built countless deals was about to witness the destruction of my own son. Charles walked in wearing his usual expensive suit, carrying a coffee and his tablet. At 34, he looked every inch the successful executive he pretended to be, but now I saw through the facade to the predator underneath. "Morning, Dad. You wanted to see me about the Henderson project? Sit down, Charles. We need to talk about Dorothy." His expression didn't change, but I caught a flicker of something in his eyes. "Dorothy, Dad, we've been through this. She's gone. Probably living it up in Europe somewhere with her boyfriend." I reached into my desk drawer and pulled out a thick folder. Bank records, email printouts, witness statements, photographs, everything Arthur and Beverly had gathered over the past month. "Charles, I know about the fake vendors. I know about the offshore accounts. I know about Joyce Reynolds. And I know what you've been putting in my vitamins." For the first time since he'd walked in, Charles looked genuinely surprised. He set down his coffee cup and leaned forward. "Dad, what are you talking about?" "I'm talking about $125,000 in fraudulent transactions over the past 18 months. I'm talking about shell companies that exist only on paper. I'm talking about compounds designed to cause cognitive decline in elderly patients." I slid the toxicology report across the desk. Charles picked it up, and I watched his face carefully as he read. The color drained from his cheeks. "I don't understand. Where did this come from?" "From my blood, Charles. The blood you've been slowly poisoning for 6 months." That's when his mask finally slipped. The concerned son act vanished, replaced by something cold and calculating. "You can't prove anything. Even if those tests are accurate, anyone could have given you those compounds. You eat out, you have a cleaning lady, you take other medications, you're right." That's why I also have security footage of Joyce Reynolds purchasing the chemicals from Med Supply Aurora, using Marcus Thompson's stolen identity. You remember Marcus? The employee you fired 3 months ago for supposed theft. Charles was quiet now, his mind working. I could see him trying to find an angle, a way out. I also have your email exchanges with Joyce discussing my inheritance timeline and your plans to have me declared incompetent. Those emails could be fabricated. They could be. That's why Detective Martinez will be examining your work computer and personal devices with a proper warrant. Charles shot to his feet. "You called the police on your own son?" "I called the police on a thief and a would-be murderer who happens to share my DNA." His face was red now, veins bulging in his forehead. "You're a dying old man, Dad. You can't think straight anymore. No one will believe your paranoid delusions over my word. How about Dorothy's word? That stopped him cold. Dorothy's dead. Is she? Because I had lunch with her yesterday. She's doing well, by the way. Due any day now with your son. Charles sank back into his chair like I'd hit him with a hammer. That's impossible. She left town. I saw her get on a bus to the airport. You saw her get on a bus to downtown Denver, where she's been working as a waitress for the past 4 months to survive. Living in a motel room because you destroyed her credit and froze her bank accounts. She stole money from the company. No, Charles, you stole money from the company. Dorothy discovered your theft and threatened to expose you, so you drove her away and convinced me she was the criminal. For a long moment, we stared at each other across the desk. 34 years of fatherhood reduced to this. My son calculating whether he could still lie his way out of his crimes. What do you want? He finally asked. I want Dorothy's name cleared. I want every penny you stole returned to the company. I want Joyce Reynolds out of my house and out of Colorado. And I want you to turn yourself in to Detective Martinez before he comes looking for you. Charles laughed, but there was no humor in it. And if I refuse, then you'll be arrested at your desk in about 20 minutes when Martinez arrives with a warrant. The choice is yours, son. Walk out of here with some dignity intact or be dragged out in handcuffs in front of everyone you work with. He looked toward the door, probably calculating his chances of making it to his car before the police arrived. But Arthur Bennett was positioned in the lobby, and Vernon, my driver, was watching the parking garage. You've thought of everything, haven't you, Dad? I learned from the best businessman in Denver. Unfortunately, you learned from him too. Charles chose badly. He tried to bluff his way out, claiming I was senile and that any evidence against him was fabricated by a confused old man. He even had the audacity to suggest that Dorothy had somehow manipulated me during my declining mental state. That's when Detective Martinez walked through my office door with 2 uniformed officers. Charles Caldwell, you're under arrest for embezzlement, elder financial abuse, conspiracy to commit fraud, and attempted poisoning of a family member. The next hour was surreal. Watching my own son get handcuffed in the office, where I'd taught him about business ethics, was like watching my life's work crumble. But as they read him his rights, I felt something I hadn't expected: relief. The investigation that followed uncovered even more than we'd initially found. Charles had been planning to dissolve Caldwell Construction after my death, transferring all assets to a new company he'd incorporated with Joyce as the primary shareholder. They'd already begun the process of liquidating our equipment contracts and had lined up buyers for our prime real estate holdings. Joyce tried to run when she heard about Charles's arrest. Arthur caught her at Denver International Airport with $75,000 in cash, a fake passport, and a one-way ticket to the Cayman Islands where their offshore accounts were located. The trial lasted 4 months. Charles got 8 years in federal prison for financial fraud and elder abuse. Joyce got 6 years as his accomplice. The judge ordered full restitution, every penny of the $85,000 plus damages and legal fees. But the real victory came 2 weeks after Charles's arrest. I was in the delivery room at Presbyterian St. Joseph Hospital when Dorothy gave birth to my grandson, Theodore Caldwell. 7 pounds, 4 ounces of pure determination with his mother's brown eyes. And what the nurses assured me was his grandfather's stubborn chin. He's perfect, Dorothy whispered, exhausted but radiant as she held him. Looking down at that tiny face, I felt something shift inside me. This wasn't just about revenge or justice anymore. This was about the future, about making sure Theodore grew up in a family that valued honesty over profit. Dorothy recovered quickly and came back to work 6 weeks later as our chief financial officer. I gave her full authority over all company finances, with compensation that reflected her real value to the organization. She was the best accountant we'd ever had, and now I understood why Charles had been so desperate to drive her away. As for my health, once I stopped taking Charles's vitamins, the improvement was dramatic. The dizziness disappeared completely. My thinking cleared up, and I felt stronger than I had in years. Dr. Chester said the compounds Charles had been giving me were designed to cause gradual cognitive decline without being immediately lethal. A slow poisoning meant to make me appear incompetent while Charles positioned himself to take control. It took 8 months to fully restructure Caldwell Construction. We implemented new financial controls with Dorothy's oversight, brought in an independent board of directors, and established clear ethical guidelines for all employees. The company not only survived the scandal, but grew stronger. We landed the Henderson project that had been on the table the day I discovered Dorothy at the restaurant, and our annual revenue increased to $12 million. Today, Theodore is 18 months old and calls me Papa. He takes his first wobbly steps around my office while Dorothy works at her desk, reviewing contracts and ensuring every penny is accounted for. Sometimes I catch her watching the door, still nervous that Charles might somehow return, but he's got 6 more years before he's eligible for parole. The company is now structured so Dorothy owns 60% of the shares, with the remaining 40% held in trust for Theodore until he turns 30. Charles will inherit nothing. When he gets out of prison, he'll have to build his own life from scratch, just like I did when I started this company 35 years ago. Some people in our business community say I was too hard on my own son, that family should forgive family no matter what. But when someone tries to poison you and destroy an innocent woman's life for money, there have to be consequences. I didn't build this company to enable a thief, even if that thief was my own blood. Looking back, I realize I made mistakes as a father. Maybe I gave Charles too much responsibility too soon. Maybe I didn't teach him that character matters more than profit margins. But I won't make those same mistakes with Theodore. He'll learn that a family business isn't just about money. It's about taking care of the people who depend on you and building something that lasts beyond your own lifetime. The hardest part isn't the money Charles stole or even the months he spent slowly poisoning me. It's knowing that I raised someone capable of such cruelty. But I've learned that biology doesn't guarantee loyalty. And sometimes the family you choose is more valuable than the family you're born into. Dorothy and Theodore are my real family now. When I look at my grandson playing with his blocks while Dorothy reviews quarterly reports, I know that Caldwell Construction will survive long after I'm gone. Not because I passed it to my son, but because I passed it to someone who shares my values. Charles always thought he was smarter than his old man. He thought he could drug me into submission and steal my life's work while I was too confused to stop him. But he forgot the most important lesson I tried to teach him. In business and in life, character is the only foundation that really matters. And when the truth comes out, and it always does, you better be standing on solid ground. Sometimes the greatest legacy you can leave isn't what you built, but what you protected from being destroyed by those you trusted most. Blood makes you related, but loyalty and character make you family. And in the end, that's the only foundation worth building on.